radio show and podcast. Whether you're sipping an espresso, indulging in a plate of pasta, or just tuning in from your favorite pizzeria, we're here to bring you the flavors, traditions, and stories that make up the heart of the Italian-American experience. From the bustling streets of Little Italy to the family kitchens where recipes are passed down through generations, we'll explore it all. So grab a cannoli, settle in, and let's embark on this delightful journey together. In each episode, we'll feature interviews with fascinating guests, share authentic recipes, and dive into the history that shaped the Italian-American community. But most importantly, we want to hear from you. Call in, share your stories, and let's create a community that celebrates the essence of La Dolce Vita. You can also catch our podcast episodes for a taste of Italy wherever you are. So whether you're Nana's favorite or just discovering your roots, get ready for a radio experience that's amore. Right here on the Italian-American radio show and podcast. Andiamo! Stay tuned for an hour of cultural delights coming your way on the Italian-American radio show and podcast.
Good afternoon and welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada, because that's what you're listening to, the Las Vegas, Nevada Italian-American radio show and podcast. And I was just speaking to someone, if you heard that, in South Philadelphia, that's going to be on a show with me in about 15 minutes. And, fabulous guy. He wrote a beautiful book, and he's going to tell us a little bit about it. And apparently it's got some merit to it because I have a friend of mine that I didn't realize had gotten in touch with him, or he got in touch with my friend, Joe Gadavage, who is in the movie business, has made quite a few different movies, and won a lot of awards. And Joe's reading that book to see if perhaps it's got a movie in it, and it probably does. If Joe saw it and thought about it, it probably does. But in any event, we'll be speaking to him. Frank Vercetti, his name is, and he's in South Philly, my hometown, and I'm glad to be able to speak to him. We'll also be speaking to Denise. She's from South Philly. He's another. There's a lot of literate people there in Philadelphia. They're writing books, they're writing stories. How to write mine. That'd be interesting, huh? In any event, I wanted to talk about something myself, just personally. There's a show here in town, the Jew-Man Group, it's called. Well, they stopped the show. And the reason they stopped it is because of this madness with the Israelis and the Muslims. And I think that's pretty sad. That's a pretty sad thing to do, to take comedy off of the stage. And the people that live here in Las Vegas have to be punished for something that somebody's idea of what they think something should be. And it has nothing to do with comedy at all. Can you hold 1 second? I'm interested in something here. How many Jewish people are in Las Vegas? How many people live in Las Vegas that are Jewish?
According to the Times of Israel, some 40% of the approximately
70,000. Not a bad number. And the reason I just did that real quick, I did it on Google. I hope I read it right. They need to speak up, and they need to go see the show. They need to demand to see that show. They need to call the hotel and tell the hotel, this is ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. This whole situation is ridiculous. I'm not saying that it's a terrible thing that the people in Palestine are being killed and murdered and abused the way they are. I don't mean that at all. But I do mean this. There was a time when they killed 1,200 people and took hostages. They killed 1,200 babies and older people and young people and families, in their homes and murdered them. And what I never heard, I haven't heard this yet from anybody. Why hasn't any of these news corporations, these reporters, these so-called reporters that aren't, they're not, all the real reporters are dead. They've died. They were from the 40s and 30s, 40s and 50s and 60s, but they're gone now. But why someone has not asked, why are the Muslims in those areas continuing to hate the Jew and want the Jew out of Israel? What is that about? I mean, that they actually believe that they could kill all the Jews and get rid of all the Jews because they're Muslims, and that's what they believe. And I guess they believe it so strongly that they're never going to change. And they would have allowed, they allowed these poor people, a lot of them poor children, older people, to be murdered from bombs being dropped on them and what have you, because they just wouldn't come to the realization that people have to live together. You got to live together. I mean, that's all there is to it. If you don't do that, this is what you get. You get anarchy. And it's just sad. I got off my trail, and I don't want to do that. The idea that I'm talking about is a very good friend of mine put that show together. I know him for over 20 years. And he put that show together, and it's a fabulous show in a fabulous hotel. And the entertainers there are all top-notch entertainers. It's a funny show, and it should be on. And it shouldn't be taken off because you have a bunch of people denouncing the Jewish people. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. They should be told very matter-of-factly, go somewhere else. You're not going to do that here. This is Las Vegas. What I'm watching happen in the last 20 years is ridiculous. People can't walk down the strip without being mugged or accosted in some way. I mean, it's nuts. And it's got to stop. I guess it will stop sooner or later. The American people will get tired of it, and they'll stop it, I guess. But I had to mention the show, the Jew Man Group, and just the idea of it. They're so funny. These people it's hysterical. Your back will hurt if you see the show. It's that funny. But Jewish people are funny. They're funny people. That's their nature. And if you have anything to say about it to me, feel free to call me. I have no problem speaking to somebody about it. But in any event, I wanted to run that out on the air. I wanted people to hear it and understand that you got to live together. You can't. This is craziness that's going on in this world and in this country. So that's what I have to say about it. Now I'm going to get back to my show. The Italian American show and Italian American podcast was put together by me and a few other people to bring culture and the agriculture and the history of the Italian American people here and the Italians in Italy and across the world, really. And, every day you find something new about the Italian people. It's unbelievable. They just keep finding things out about them, that they've invented this or they invented that or they built this or they built that. And it's just unreal. The idea is naturally to promote the Italian culture. That is the idea, to promote the Italian kids that are in college and they have their own little groups. I'd love to have them on and talk about what it is they do. And it's getting close to time that they're all going to be on a beach somewhere shortly. And thank God for that. The show that we're doing today is going to be about a writer in South Philadelphia. He wrote a book, and he gave me a call. He didn't call me to be on the show. He called me to tell me that my friend had mentioned me to him and said it might be a good idea for him to call me And it was a good idea. Joey knew what he was doing because the idea is if you have an idea or you have something to say, a lot of times you don't have a place to do it. You don't have a place to say it or to have to vent it, to let people hear about it. You don't have that. Well, you have it here with me. And my show is on Rumble. After this show, it's on Rumble. It goes around the world. People can hear it anywhere. People can comment on it anytime they like, and I'll get back to them if they make comments. And you can call when the show's on. You can call live. I'll take your call. It's no problem at all. And if I like what you say, I'll send you a nice hat, a nice Italian American hat or a bucket hat, something that you like. As a matter of fact, I just saw a show last night with Grace Kelly, and that was 1950s, and she was wearing one of those bucket hats. She had one on. Beautiful. Hers was a little different. It was more dressy, but it was a bucket hat nonetheless. In any event, if you have something, like I said, if you have something you want to say and you want to pass it on to me and you want to get to me, you can just give us a call here at the station. And give you the station number is 702-221-7283. 221-7283. And, just tell me what you'd like to talk about and we can do it. Also, I have a fellow here that's the producer of the show. He's very tired today. He puts in a lot of hours, and he's fallen. I woke him up twice already since we've been on the air, and we've only been on the air 17 minutes, 16 minutes. I'm only kidding. He's really good at what he does, and he helps me out here a lot. I appreciate him, and I do have a girl down in Louisiana though likes to torture him. She called me today and she said, "Tell Justin I'm watching him. I want to watch him." And she does watch the show, and she if she sees something she doesn't like, she makes a call right away. And well, that's what you need when you're doing any kind of broadcasting. You need somebody that can watch and make sure everything is going right. The fellow we just spoke to, I did call. I told him we'd call him back in about 15 minutes or so. So we'll call him and give him another 5 anyway, we'll call him at, you want to call him at the half hour? Or you want? Yeah, all right, we'll just call him at the half hour. South Philly's a funny place. You grow up there in different sections. There's sections that go, it's a very easy town to get around, by the way. You have numbered streets, and then you have the named streets. And if you go from in Center City, towards Market Street, if you come down, they're all trees. So if you know your trees, you know your streets. So you could be on 2nd and Chestnut, or you could be on 2nd and Walnut, or you could be on 2nd and Spruce, or 2nd and Pine, 2nd and Lombard. So there's streets, and just named after trees, so it makes it a lot easier. And they cut the whole city up in four pieces, north, south, east, and west. And I lived in the south, which was Market Street to Oregon Avenue, now down to as far down as what is that main street down there? I forget now. Been so long since I've been down there. By the stadium. It'll come to me in a minute. I'm getting old. And then, of course, from the Schuylkill River to the Delaware River. That really is South Philly. There are other little names in there, that people have, Queens Village or Society Hill, little pockets where people live, and but it's all South Philadelphia in reality. And it was a great place to grow up. Truly was. It was a lot of fun growing up there. A lot of things to do. A lot of real people. When I was growing up, there were real people there, and it was right after the Second World War. It was the 50s, 60s. Everything was really going well, and people were making money. People were finding out that they wanted to go to college or they wanted to be in the unions, and plenty of different union jobs were out there. Well, everything was there was plenty of everything. And it just was, everybody was doing okay. I mean, if you had a mom and dad, you really did good. You did well. I don't know why I keep putting these glasses on. I'm so used to putting these glasses on. If you had both on your side, at a home, you were in pretty good shape, financially, because you had, your dad naturally was going to make a lot more money than a mother or a wife could back in those days. You know what I mean? Women didn't make as much money as men, and they needed mothers home to take care of their kids, and that's the truth. They really, truly did, and the kids were, well, they were brought up differently, and they were raised differently, and unfortunately, they didn't project that onto their kids. They, I don't know why, but they spoiled their kids. And in turn, their kids spoiled their kids, which is third generation now, and it's just ridiculous. I take my grandson out, and thank God my daughter was very, very strict with him, and she is with the new one now. And I don't mean strict in a bad way. I mean, she just chores, a lot of chores like I used to do. I don't know if she got that from my grandmother or what, but from my mother. It's her grandmother, my mother. But we used to have to clean that house. I mean, it was 4 boys, but we had to clean, when we were younger, I'm talking about, we had to clean the house. It was a 3-story house, big house. And it was not fun because it was always on a Saturday. You had to do it, and you thought you were going out, but you weren't. And, you had to get up early in the morning, and you had to start cleaning everything. And I don't want to go through that, but trust me, you cleaned everything from baseboards to hardwood floors. And you did that a couple times a year, spring cleaning it was called, right? Well, my mother was one of those. Boy, she was neat as a pin. So you had to do it her way. It was Dot's way or a whack. Wasn't the highway. It was a backhand in the back of your head. Do it right. And we used to laugh because, in those days, you had to hang out the window to do the outside windows. You had to actually sit on the windowsill hanging. You were backwards in the window doing the windows. And it was really funny if you were standing down on the sidewalk looking up, especially at our house, because my mother had those windows. They were like, I think they were 6/6. Could have been 9/9, but I think there were 6/6 windows. And you got to clean each one. Now, fortunately, I was too young to do that. So my other brothers got that wonderful job, thank God. And she didn't want me falling out the window. But I had other things I had to do. And it was just, again, like I'm saying, in those days, earlier times, it was horses and wagons. It was not unheard of or odd to see a horse and wagon walking, the horse walking down the street, whether it was a Abbott's milk truck being pulled by a horse and wagon. It was a wagon, Abbott's wagon, and or Javella water, which is the bleach Italian, and then of course produce was a whole wagon full of different produce. They would come and sell the produce, and that was South Philly. That was just part of it. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back, and we're going to call Frank Ricchetti in South Philadelphia. Stay tuned. Don't go away.
Clear Sky Resorts invites you to escape the ordinary with a vacation that's extraordinary. Experience one-of-a-kind glamping vacations full of fun and adventure at their unique Sky Dome Resort near the Grand Canyon. To ensure every Clear Sky Resorts vacation is fun and memorable, they offer lots of family-friendly activities, the majority of them free for guests. And because every great adventure deserves great food, their resident food truck promises to keep guests deliciously fueled for all the fun. To book your reservation today, please call 1-888-704-4445 or visit clearskyresorts.com. When the food and drinks are a 10 out of 10, the rest is extra credit. From life-size games to watching your favorite team on the big screens, there's fun for everyone at Crash and Burn. On Vegas game days, wear your home team jersey to get additional discounts. Golden Knights, the Raiders, and the Aces fans are always welcome. Dine above the downtown crowds on our 100-square-foot patio with outdoor seating and fun long games. Come enjoy the best people watching on Fremont Street. Crash and Burn is the new hotspot to visit. Games you can enjoy like duck pin bowling, arcade games, Jenga, life-size beer pong, cornhole, and more. Located at 450 Fremont Street and Las Vegas Boulevard. Crash and Burn. Be there. Black Bear Diner is welcoming spring with 4 new limited-time-only stack menu items. The Stack's limited-time menu offerings include a double bacon stack, tri-tip cheddar stack, hand-breaded crispy chicken stack, and a crispy cod stack. For guests that are looking for something on the sweeter side, Black Bear Diner is also offering guests 4 limited-time offerings, including blueberry sweet cream pancake, blueberry cheesecake, blueberry lemonade, and blueberry mimosa. 4 area locations in Vegas at Sahara and Durango, Tropicana and Jones, Las Vegas and Warm Springs, and Green Valley Parkway and Sunset. Visit blackbeardiner.com. According to a VA study, each day 22 veterans take their own lives. Together we can win the war against veteran suicide. Join Mission 22 to let our veterans know that they have an army behind them that cares. This salute is courtesy of Pops Automotive, where they're serving our area with integrity and excellence. For all of your automotive needs, stop by 1433 South Main Street in Las Vegas or call them at 702-676-1002. That's 702-676-1002. That's Pops Automotive on the air saluting our troops and veterans.
Voters want safe gun reform, ban military assault weapons, including AR-15s, have universal background checks, and red flag laws. I am Eva Chase, a candidate for Nevada State Assembly District 16, U.S. Air Force veteran, college graduate, progressive independent candidate, fully transitioned transgender woman, former lieutenant governor candidate for Nevada in 2022, where I received 7,212 votes in the Democratic primary. Follow me on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok. Donate to my campaign bot fund account and stay progressive.
Please remember to thank all our healthcare professionals, law enforcement, first responders, and military for their protective services. This message is courtesy of Vito's Tacos, proudly serving our area the most delicious food. For a great meal, stop by 7380 Southeastern Avenue in Las Vegas or call 702-800-0955. That's 702-800-0955. That's Vito's Tacos on the air, thanking our first responders for all that they do.
Looking for a delicious start to your day in the Southwest or Henderson? We have 2 amazing spots you have to try out. First in Henderson, at Scrambled, off of St. Rose and Coronado Center. They offer the classics like steak and eggs and huevos rancheros, or our favorite, the house-made corned beef hash and eggs. The Southwest, we have a brand new daytime eatery called Whidbey's, off Rainbow and Blue Diamond. You will find a little bit of everything from Irish to West Coast Benedicts to blueberry cream cheese stuffed French toast. Open sunrise to midday. For more information, visit scrambledlv.com or whidbeyseatery.com, where every meal can be extraordinary.
Okay, that's doesn't look too big. No, that's all right. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. You're good. You could turn it around now. I know you like looking at me. Tell me when we're on. We're on. Frank. Frank. Yeah, Frank. I'm sorry. I had to get my earphones on, and he had them in his car. I hear you good. Can you hear me? All right. I don't know. I'll turn that screen around. I'll let you know. He wants to know if I could see him. No, I can't see him. No, we can't see you yet. No. No. What happened? What blocked it? The browser has blocked his mic and camera.
I'll talk him through it later.
You'll talk him through it later? Okay. Do you need this or no? Yeah, I'm sorry. He's going to try to take care of it for you. In any event, how you doing today? How you doing today, Frank?
Doing great. Just got back from Italian, well, not necessarily Italian festival in our neighborhood. We have events here in South Philly. 13th, if you're familiar with the South Philly restaurants areas.
Yeah, down on
every
Passyunk
Sunday.
Avenue? On Passyunk?
Right. Yeah, they have live music, free bands, and lots of vendors, and there's tons of people. So I spent about an hour or so there.
Oh, that was nice.
Having a great time.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
You see any of the old guard out there? Any of your old friends?
Well, I did the fellow I know that's still around is Steve Retrovano. He's with the Philly Philly Harmonic Orchestra.
Oh, wow.
And he sings. He travels all over. So he's out there today with his band, and they're singing on Passyunk Avenue.
Very good. Very nice.
So we had a good time.
I'm glad to hear that they're still doing the events, and the Italians are still on Passyunk Avenue and in business and spending money, and the people are. It was always nice to go there, and shop when we were kids, and when I lived down on 2nd Street, because that's where I lived at 2th Street, 2nd and Bainbridge. In any event, so they got a nice fair going there today, huh?
Yeah. Again, it's on till maybe 8:00 tonight. It started at 11. And, it's always a good time to go out, especially when the weather's good and meeting people. Of course, most of us are gone. I'm in my 70s. And
was it crowded? Was it crowded, Frank? Were there a good bit of people there?
Yeah, very, very crowded with the younger kind of crowds, in between the 30s and 35-year-olds,
That's great. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. All right, on to your book. Give me an idea how you put it together, please, and what it's about a little bit. Give me a little story on it.
Okay, well, here's the thing, Ed. Back in 2008, when I started doing this, actually, I went through a divorce, of course. That's how, you get triggered looking for other romances, So I started to try to be, kind of nice about doing this time instead of going to bars and stuff like that, which I did eventually end up going and then joined some dating sites. I started being a little more professional about it and ran into a few women I started to date and things like that. And I didn't realize how some of these women were just very, very deceitful. It was very demeaning to me to know there were women out there who just really weren't upfront with you.
Right.
So I finally, actually, make a long story short on this, I finally met someone I was really, really, really in love with this girl, and she had come out of a relationship just like I did. And she was in one for 10 years, and I was married for 22 years. 19 years. And we met at a club. It was a sophisticated club. And we started dating and things like that. And I was head over heels over her. And finally, her ex-boyfriend continued contacting her. And she kind of gave in to his emails and his letters and his flowers and his gifts and stuff like that. And one day came to me and said, I really got to know how I feel. I think I need a couple of weeks, all this kind of stuff. I mean, she had introduced me to her family. Her parents loved me. Her sisters loved me. They wanted her to stay with me. But she decided to let this guy back into her life. He was the kind of guy, a biker kind of guy, with the beard, the grubby look, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
and she was a nurse. She was gorgeous. She looked like Cameron Diaz, really.
Oh wow!
And yeah, when we were out one night, I was out by myself, of course, and then she was standing behind me and asked me to dance. I turned around, and I saw this beautiful blonde. I said, "You want to dance with me?" She says, "Yeah, why not?" I said, "Okay." So one thing led to another. We started kissing right on the dance floor, and so there was so much chemistry. I had never felt that type of chemistry in my life. And so we dated, and everything was going well. Like I said, so this Gagoon, I call him a Gagoon. Actually, he's the Phantom guy in my book. He's a Phantom, one of the characters of my book. He's a Phantom. You don't see him all the time, but he's there.
Right.
Anyway, so she goes with him. A couple of weeks later, I get a phone call. She goes, "I want to meet you for lunch at a place we used to go in Northeast Philly for, hangs out. They had live music and stuff like that." She goes, "I need a couple of weeks. He's been calling my job, my nurse's office and stuff like that." So I said, "Okay, fine." I said, "That's what you need to do." 2 weeks later, I get a phone call. I called her, actually, and she said to me, I said, "How you doing?" She goes, "You know what? If it's any comfort to you, I couldn't sleep these past couple of weeks." I said, "No, I couldn't either." I said, "So how's it going?" She goes, "Well, I am seeing him again." And I said, "Oh, okay, really?" I said, "Okay, fine." So, all right. So after that was a very serious part of my life at that time. And it was a serious relationship. Of course, I thought it was anyway.
Yeah.
And, so I started trying a new avenue here. Let me see if I can find somebody who's really up, who I could actually know. So I started joining these dating sites. I was on date.com. I was going to eharmony.com. I even went on Christian.net, looking for wholesome women who were, you thought had some morals, you know what I mean? So,
and you found out none of them do.
I tell you the truth, there really wasn't no difference. The only difference is the Christian girls didn't want me drinking any wine at all. When I go out to dinner, I like to have a few glasses of wine.
Why not?
Well, the Christians, they didn't want you to drink nothing. I said, well, maybe you should go out with a minister, I told her.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah.
So I started putting things on paper, and it's in my book. Each chapter is dedicated to one of the women I've met and the circumstances I went through with them. And each chapter has in it a particular song that sets the mood. I use some of Sinatra's songs, some of Willie Nelson's songs, and there's no plagiarism involved. Of course, everybody knows that was just put in there to set the mood.
Yeah, right.
My original song, which I wrote, which is the same title of the book. Actually, this song in 2000, when I was awakened early in the morning, and this song was going around in my head. I had already written the book, except for one chapter was still unfinished. That chapter was for waiting for that person who I really was going to stay with, or who was going to stay with me. So that was chapter 10 in it, and so I let that go. But I woke up one morning with this song in my mind. They just came to me. It was like somebody was writing it in my brain. So I ran to my office. I started writing down the words to it. I grabbed my guitar. I started putting some music to it. I put a CD together, and I sent it out to Nashville. Ronnie James, Horizon Music. I couldn't go to sing the song because my wife was in a boot. She had some operations on her toes, so they had this guy, Randy Brown, sing it. He was from the group called Alabama. You might remember Alabama.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Big group.
Yeah. So anyway, so the music was there in the lyrics, but they rearranged the music. They actually they rearranged it all. They let Larry Brown sing it, and it came back, and I loved the sound, actually. It sounded a little more country than when I first wrote it.
Right.
Okay, a little more country. So I said, okay, fine. It sounded good. It was one of my first songs I ever published. I do have other songs I never published but this came out of pain. This was different about this song. It came out of pain.
Right.
It came out of a true experience. It didn't come from a story you heard from what somebody else did, or this guy did that and this woman did that. This was something that happened, and it was so embedded in me. I felt like I had to write a book about it. So that's what I did. I wrote the book. I sung the song in public. I do it when I take it with me. I did a lot of karaoke back then and all, and I'm still doing some of that. I went to a lot of clubs. I was invited to do real estate events and everything else. There are people that come out for the real estate events.
Oh, no
the brokers. Yeah, the brokers and all the guys out there. and they wanted me to come out there and sing and do stuff like that. So I've actually been trying to get into. I knew there was something somewhere in my life I was supposed to be involved in the entertainment world somehow.
Right.
And I was on television twice. I was on television twice. Once back in 1973, and once in 1975. I did a half-hour show with a friend of mine. We played guitar and we sang on national television for a complete half hour. And the other time I was on a talk show. It was actually a Christian talk show. I was a counselor at that time, dealing with troubled youth. And and they asked me to bring my guitar and sing a song, which I did on camera. Of course, did that. And after that, because I was still in college too, so I was going to college. I was doing summer charity work in the summers, while I was going through college, and I knew there was some place I'm supposed to be, but somewhere on the line, I just didn't seem to connect with anything really. I mean, I put my name out there. I was, like I said, I was in The Irishman as an extra in 2019. And so I've been here, and I finally picked my book up again after a few years. I reread it. I said to myself, let me try to do something with this book. I mean, I don't have a lot of exposure with it.
Okay.
I've had some royalties come in and stuff like that, but not enough to make it to where I really want to be with that. And I have musical talent. I sing, I write music, I write songs. I'm very creative. And so I just happened to run into Joe at the adult center where my wife goes, because she goes there and she does her, they do art class and they do singing groups. They get into singing and they perform for, special events like Easter and Christmas and Thanksgiving, things like that. Yeah. So, and they play bingo, which she likes the most because she can go out and gamble a little bit without going to casinos.
Right.
So I just ran into him. I said, "How you doing, Joe?" He goes, "I'm doing good." I said, "I see you singing in there." And he sings with the old ladies, right? And I don't, because I just can't get into them. Their songs. They're just so old. I mean, they were like 50 years old before I was born. But they sing them anyway. But he sings it. And so I was just kind of curious. I said, "Joe," what do you do for yourself? He goes, I'm a movie producer. I said, "Really? You're a movie producer?"
Yes, he is.
Oh, I said, "Okay." I said, "Anyway, yeah." Okay. I said, "Well, not for nothing. I'm getting emails from people who want me to put my book in as a movie." I said, "I never even thought about that when I wrote this book, He goes, "Oh, yeah." "I'll send you to my website and I'll show you what I've done." And I went to his website. I saw all the movies that he did, and they look fantastic.
Yeah, he did.
I saw some of the trailers and things like that.
Yeah.
And the artwork and the actual scenery was so awesome. So I said, "Can I run something by you?" He goes, "Yeah, what is it?" I said, "Would you like to read my book?" I said, like I said, some people want me to put it into a movie. I said, "I don't really know if it's movie material or not." "All right, give me a shot." So I brought him a copy, and he turned it back over, and it tells all about me, where I came from. It says here, if I have time to read just the back part.
Read it. Go ahead, read it for us.
Okay. Well, here's what it says here. The author, Frank Ricchetti, a native Italian American, was born December 28, 1950, in South Philadelphia on Randolph Street within a mixed-cultured neighborhood of Irish, Italian, and African Americans. His education included 3 grammar schools, Washington, Nevinger, and Kirkbride, 2 junior high schools, Bartlett and Furness junior high schools, and South Philadelphia High. Okay, and his college, he went to Valley Forge Christian College.
Oh.
This contributed to his many-faceted perceptions of the cultural, ethical, and religious differences among his peers. His studies included all courses and a 3-year extensive course of theological, ministerial, and Christian education, because I wanted to be in Christian education at the time. So although he had written much long before this book, composing songs, poetry, creating characters, he continued charity work among various Christian ministries and churches. He has written multiple songs and stories, one in particular titled The Cabin, a story of intense fear in the woods of an old abandoned outpost, which was used for summer campgrounds and youth retreats. Frank is still writing romantic love songs and poems. Some are found in this book. His songs and poems have great meaning and will prove to be an effective healing ointment for the brokenhearted. As you read this book, you will find yourself, your emotion, your sense of humor, your circumstance, and the hope you need to fall in love again.
I love it. I love it, buddy. You know something? I understand now why Joey has that book and he's reading that book. I can see. I think you're going to end up with a movie, buddy, because of it's different. It's a story. It's stories within a story, which always plays well on the screen, where you have different stories, different segments to the movie, because people get involved in one and then they go to the next one. But yours is just a continuation. It's always you and just different women.
It's about my life.
Yeah, it's about your life. It's great. I love it. I think you're going to have a hit. I really do. And I think Joey is going to work as magic for you. And Joey can work magic. He really can. I mean, me and him go back a long time. And we used to sell together, and advertising. And he was really, really good. I'm not going to say he was better than me. I'm not going to say I was better than him. But we sold a lot of advertising, me and this guy. And we had a lot of fun. Joey's fun. Well, you know him. He's a funny guy. I mean, if he let his hair down around you, I don't know. But he is absolutely hysterical. And he knows a lot of people in the business. A lot of movie people. And so it's not a matter of just him. I mean, he could take your property and show it to other people. And they say, wow, I'd like this. I'd like to do this. You follow me, Frank?
Yeah, I'm following you. And again, I don't really know what else could come out of this. It could just be, me being on a talk show once in a while or something like that. Just talking about whatever has happened in my past or whatever's going on in my future, and how come it took so long to really get involved in this. Well, it's like, Joe took 16 years for his first movie. I might get into producing my other songs. I'm not sure yet. I do have a copy of the CD, my song that I wrote, and I have the music track here. But maybe you want to do something with that, maybe some other time. Maybe you want to hear it or something.
Yeah, of course we do. You have a lot more to talk about. I mean, we don't have enough. We only have about 8 more minutes, but you have a lot more to speak about, and I have a lot more questions to talk to you about. But
I would love to do that.
I wanted to. I really want to reiterate on what I was telling you. Joey is. If he's determined, that I'm going to tell you right now. He's a determined guy. I mean, if he likes it, he's going to sell it for you. He'll sell the show, and that's the truth. I mean, because he's a what you call a junkyard dog. I mean, he won't stop, and which is okay. And I'm saying that for you, and so what that if he's got his hands on your book and he's reading it, and there's all kinds of things he could be doing with it, and like I say, he knows so many people. I mean, well, you see him. He goes to the Cannes Film Festival every year. I mean, he hobnobs with a lot of big shots, and he really has.
I've only really known him probably, I would say, about a year since we've been going to the adult center.
Okay.
And we didn't really get close till probably, just before Christmas, I think it was. We actually started talking together, just talking together. Like I said, he's always with his mom, and he always seems to be busy. And so I don't really like to approach him when he looks like he's involved in something. So, anyway, I don't even know what else I was going to say, but if you want to do this again, I'd be happy to. And if you want to, so you can see my face, I do have an email address where you could send this link. I have my own camera set up on my computer with the mic itself. I mean, if you really want to see my face.
Hold on a minute, Frank. Okay, Okay. My producer's telling me he's giving me 5 more minutes. He's such a nice guy. Frank,
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Sir Frank. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, I torture him sometimes for it. When we need a little more time. Um, Normally, when I put this show together, Frank, just a little bit about me. This show is supposed to be Monday through Friday, 2 hours a day, a 2-hour show every day, Monday through Friday. But what happened was COVID came in, that knocked us out for a year, and but that was okay in its own way. It was all right because I was working on a lot of different things anyway to put onto the show, to build the show, and it took a lot of time to do it. But I got it done, but then when I went to get the airtime again, it wasn't there anymore. And if you've been around a station, any kind of a station, you understand that airtime is what it's all about. Being able to secure
Right.
some airtime. If you can't get the airtime, you could have the best show in the world. It's not going to do any good. And
Mhm.
so I can do 2 hours on Sunday. I can do 2 hours on Saturday, which we may start next week. We talked about it. We may start next week and doing a Saturday and a Sunday show, 2 hours each. We'll see, because I got sick and I was down for a few weeks. I had an entertainer come in and he worked 3 weeks. Very good entertainer, by the way. And he worked 3 shows for me, 3 weekends for me, and did a great job. And then naturally I felt better, and I got back on the air, but it backed everything up again. All the things that I wanted to do, it backed me up. So now I'm trying to get it straight. Now starting tomorrow, I'm kind of free. I feel free again that I can really start my show the way I want to start it, the way I wanted to. The Italian-American Sons and Daughters of Italy are very prominent in what I do and what I'm doing. And I have a lot of, there's probably 300 to 400 Italian-American private clubs around the country, which for me, it gives me a total of about 700 clubs, Italian-American clubs. And I want to be able to get to all of them, which I started to, but then I got sick, like I said, and that knocked everything out because if I'm not there, it don't get done right. It can get done, but not right. And, because people want to speak to me and they want to talk to me about stuff. And if I'm not there or if I'm not up to it, then you're dead in the water, And that's where I was with everything. I just didn't want to be bothered because I didn't feel good. You know how that is when you don't feel well, And so now I'm back on my feet, and I can start to maneuver again, and we want to get started again with what we're doing, and we got to put the store together. I talked to Emily about it we're going to put a store on the show where we can have things to sell, kind of like your book, and you'd be surprised that people want to buy it, but you'll also be surprised what I put together is being able to get to all these Italian-American clubs. This is a big, this is big. This is not little. And I got an opportunity to sell, not for me to sell your book, but to put it out there for people to buy it. And then you would get more residuals, You make money, Frank. That's the idea.
I want you to make money, Frank. This is just it's a business, You're in business.
You'll take me to dinner.
If I could get out to Las Vegas,
well,
sure.
you never know how things happen.
It's not impossible.
No, it's not.
Mm.
And now let me ask you one more question here. Are you married again? Did you marry, or you just?
Yes, I did. I found the chapter, the last woman in the chapter 10. She's in there. I saved it for her, and we're still married now. It's going on 14 years.
Oh, wow!
And she's an Abruzzo Italian. I don't know if you know what Abruzzo are.
Abruzzo, yeah, sure.
Abruzzo. I'm supposedly a Sicilian.
Yeah.
They say Sicilians really are not Italian. I'm not sure about that. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I know my father was told he was Napolitan. My mother was Calabrese, so I don't know what that makes me. Makes me a mutt, I guess.
No. You can't tell true Italians that they're not that are Sicilians that they're not Italian because
Yeah, yeah,
it
sure.
wouldn't go over well. I used to have film. As a matter of fact, we're working with Joey out in New York and Manhattan and Brooklyn. I used to go over to Manhattan. There's in Little Italy, Chinatown. I used to have some film edited. So, but it was always late at night, and I would go over to Little Italy, and there was a little, which was pretty much right there. I would go over and I'd have Italian dinner at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, you know. And trust me, they're Sicilian. You don't want to tell them they're not Italian.
Yeah, man.
In any event,
I love the gangster movies where you hear all the old words we used to hear. You know, in Italian, you hear what's he saying? What's he saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm picking up on that. My mom and dad talk all the time. We that's why we never understood what they were telling us to do. That's all.
Well, you know what's funny? When I did this, started the show. Oh, this is when I first started it. I had an Italian woman, do the opening to this show because I have an opening. It's about a 5-minute opening, and she did it all in Italian, and it just goes through all the years from 500 BC all the way up to today, to Las Vegas. And just all the different things that the Italian people have accomplished. But she did it in Italian. So I sent it to a friend of mine, Angelo Casara, who's the president of the Italian American Club here in Las Vegas. And Angelo calls me up. He says, "Hey, Fran, you can't use that." I said, "Why? It's great." He said, "Yeah, it's great, except nobody speaks Italian anymore. The kids don't know Italian." He said they just don't. He said, even my family growing up, he said the grandfather and the grandmother, they wanted you to speak Italian, but they didn't beat it into you. You know what I mean? So we didn't really learn too much of it. We learned some of it. He said, I speak it. He said, but my kids, they don't speak any at all, and their kids won't speak it. And so I had to redo the whole opening again, you know, and to get back to what you were saying about, you know, not being able to speak the language. Don't feel bad. You know, most of the Italian young, you know, from, I want to say the 60s up, 70s up, they can't speak Italian. A lot of them can, but most of them can't. You know, if it was a percentage-wise, they don't speak it. And it's a shame. It's sad because it's such a pretty and beautiful language, you know, and it really truly is. And I had last week, we had on the show the three top foods in the world, and I was kidding with Justin, the producer. I said, "Give me one." So he said Italy. I said, "No, that's wrong. Number one, number three." I said, "I want not number one." Number one was Italy. Number two, believe it or not, was Vietnam, if you could believe that. Vietnamese food.
Mm.
And then number three was French food, which, you know, there's certain things that I like in French food and other things, no. But the Italian, everything Italian is just, you can't, no matter what, I mean, you just can't go wrong. I don't have enough time to talk about all the things that they've accomplished in the world, you know what I mean? And you just look at things and you shake your head and say, "Oh my God," you know what I mean? How intelligent were these people that they were doing this 1,000 years ago? If you can imagine, 1,000 years ago, they were building these monuments that are still there today. You know, there's people walk on it, people go in them, you know, churches and buildings, and just unreal. But Frank, you probably know a lot of what I'm saying already. What I want to say is thank you for allowing me to have you on the show. And I promise you I will get back to you. You'll send me a copy of your music, and I will put a note off to Joey, tell him that I spoke to you and thank him. And I'm going to have you on again. We'll have you on in a couple of weeks if you like. If you have time. And
I'll be happy to anytime. Yeah. Anytime, Frank. Anytime.
Yeah.
And if you will let me send you a copy of my book as well, I could do that for you.
Absolutely.
Okay. If you could email me your address and all, I'll have it sent out to you right away.
You got it.
And I'll get a copy of that song too. That's originally sung by the fellow in Tennessee.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'd love
All
to
right.
hear it.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
love you too, man. You take it easy, yeah?
Thanks, Frank. You have a good rest of the evening.
Thank you, Frank.
You're more than welcome, babe. Bye-bye. What do we got left? 1 minute? Well, I hope you enjoyed Frank's tales of love, his affairs. We haven't heard anything of it yet. We got to get it and get it out on the air. We'll have some fun with it. And Emily, I hope you're okay, darling. I hope you tuned in and paid attention to Justin, because he's been torturing me here, Emily. We're going to say goodbye because we only have about 15, 20 seconds left. And we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for tuning in, joining us here in Las Vegas, Nevada on the Italian American Radio Show and Podcast. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Benson Feast is back. Celebrate the feast with your family. May